Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to hear about digital choice boards in the special education classroom with Autumn Boland from Denham Springs High School. We are so thankful that you have taken the time to share this information with us. How are you today?
Hey Heather, I'm doing good, enjoying the not rainy weather today, so that's exciting.
Right? Oh, I'm like, is the rain ever going to stop? It's like the school year never ended, and now that it did, the rain is never going to end. So I'm like, come on, we need a break, people. Come on.
My yard is just flooded like every day, so
We just have a swamp, and I'm like, when it's going to be what it's going to be. Anyway, all righty. Well, without me taking over any more of your time, I'm going to go ahead and let you get started on digital choice boards. We are going to drop a link in there in just a minute. You're back. Awesome. Nikki joined us too. Hi, Nikki.
Not bad.
That's all right. We've been having some technical difficulties, and so it's just been a little, of course, when you have a tech week, this is what's going to happen.
That's what happens.
Anyway, all right. Well, we're going to let Autumn get started. I will drop the link to her presentation in the chat for you. Any questions you might have, please go ahead and drop them in the chat as well, and she can answer them as she goes through. So it doesn't have to be right now. It can be in the middle, at the end, whatever. But all right, go ahead. Take it away.
Okay, perfect. All right, so as Heather said, my name is Autumn. We're going to talk about digital choice boards and how I use it in my gifted classroom. I've been teaching gifted for the past 2 years in the Denham Springs and Live Oak area, and I utilize this pretty often in my class because it allows for differentiation for all levels of students, really easy with minimal prep work. So what we're going to do is we are going to cover 4 different sections. First of all, I'm going to show you an example of one that I've used in my classroom, as well as what it looks like on the student side. I'll walk you through how to create your own choice board, and then I created some templates that you can use in your own classroom if you're interested in doing this. And then for the session closing, you'll have access to that template and also the feedback as well. So, okay. So here is an example of my digital choice board. I'm actually going to go ahead and pull up my blank example here. So whenever you give this to your students, you can assign however many assignments you want. But on here, I have 9 different assignments, but for the purpose of this assignment, I only wanted them to complete 5 of the activities. I like to let my kids decide what they want to learn, what they feel like they need the most review in and stuff. And I feel like this gives them a really good opportunity for that. So the way this works is each of these buttons that are on the screen, they're all hyperlinked into something else. And below that, I also show what exactly it is. So like this quizzes is for special right triangles. Or I also have like Google Slides, so where they look at like task cards or something like that. So like this was a trig application problem. So to access this, all they have to do is they click on the button and then they just click on the link. And it brings them to the activity. And I'm going to mute this side real quick. Once they're here, they just go, they play the activity. And after they finish the activity, they take a screenshot of their final grade. So I'm just going to click on this a couple times. Not really worried about the answers or anything like that. So after that, what they're going to do is they're going to take a screenshot. And usually I tell them to do Alt Print Screen. So let's see, Alt Print Screen. And then they're going to come back over here. And since this is the first box, this is going to be station 1. And I'll just have them paste that screenshot into there. Typically, this would be their final grade, whatever it is. I usually ask my kids to do 85% or higher. And they go on from there and they keep on filling it in. This also does like little check boxes and stuff. So after they finish an assignment, I just have them drag over a sticker. Just to show that it's been marked complete. So they'll do that. Sometimes I have answers that they need to check it, so I'll have a hyperlink there. And then the final part of this is I do have them do a recap. My questions vary depending on what I'm wanting them to give me feedback on. So like this one was a recap of which station was challenging, how could they improve upon the challenging station, and which one was also beneficial. So this is just an overview or like kind of like an introduction to how to use this. And I'm going to go ahead and show you an example of a student's one that was done. So this is from this school year. This is for my Unit 5 in my Algebra 2 class. We also had some theme stickers. But here we were looking at analyzing graphs. So my students, they went through, they completed their assignments. And as you can see, if you're familiar with quizzes, the whole bar here is 100%. I usually have them do 85% or higher. You see they missed something there. So after the end of it, they filled in their assignment and all that. And then they went back and they filled in their recap. And this is what I was going to grade them on. So now that you have an understanding of what it looks like and have seen it on the student side as well, let's go ahead and create your own. So you can either scan the QR code, or if you would like, you can type in the bit.ly URL to get a copy of this. So I'll just wait just a few seconds for you to get that copy. And at any time, if you have questions, definitely post them in the chat box. Be more than happy to answer those. Okay. So after you make your copy, it's going to come up like this. It says just copy document. Just go ahead and make a copy, and this will copy into your own Google Drive. From here, if you would like to rename it, just click on the title bar. If you want to move it into a different folder, you can go down here to move and select what folder you want. So this obviously has way more information than the example I showed you. I loaded the directions for you on how to edit this. And as we go through this, I'll walk you through step by step how to do this. So the first slide has any directions that you're going to need to get started. Slides 2 and slides 3 are some buttons that I have designed. I went through the tech department's list of programs that we use K through 12, and I pulled off of there. As you can see, like with the Kahoot or like the quizzes and Quizlet, I have multiple color schemes depending on how you would like to use it. So what we're really interested in is this third slide. So this is just a generic slide, and notice that if you had made a copy of it, you can't click on any of the instructions or anything like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up here to View, and we are going to go into Master, and this is how we're going to edit all of our directions and anything like that. Okay. So after we click on Master, here we can edit our titles. We can edit the station titles as well. And if you want to change the directions or anything like that, you can change those there. All right, so let's close out of the master view for just a second. Let's think about what we're going to do. So what I want to do is I'm going to just pull in a Desmos activity. So we're going to click on the button that we want, and we are going to click copy. And then we're going to go over here and we are going to click paste. And after this, you can drag it to wherever you want. I'm just going to bring it up here to the top. So I'm going to go into Desmos. And let's just say I just want to open up the graphing calculator and have a direct link to that. Maybe I have an activity for my kids to do that. So I'm just going to copy this URL and I'm going to go back over here. To hyperlink on here, and I have this in the directions, the easiest way to hyperlink is to hit Control K. So once you hit Control K, it's going to bring up a link right here. And we're just going to go ahead and paste that link there. So now you have successfully hyperlinked your first button on your digital choice board. So if you want to double check it, just click on it and you can click on the link and it should open it right back up. All right, so now that we have that, we need to go back into our view and we need to go and change our master. So I'm just going to change this title to Demo Choice Board. Again, if you want to change any directions, you're more than welcome to. I did post some quick stuff for like your students. If they need to learn how to screenshot, if they don't quite know, or if they don't know how to paste, you can do that. So this one, notice that my button's not here because we're actually editing in the background area. So I'm just going to change this to Desmos. And this will do that. And I can click out. And once you do that, notice that this is all changed and this is updated. All right. So after we do a couple of those, let's see, just for fun, we'll do, we'll pull in a Khan Academy one. I'm just going to click and paste it over here. And let's see, I'm going to go into Khan Academy. I'm just going to pull up a geometry lesson. So let's say that I want my students to start working on rigid transformations overview. So this is where I want them to start at. So I'm just going to take this link I'm going to pull this over, copy it. And again, I'm going to click on the button. I'm hit Control K. That allows me to hyperlink it. And I'm going to press enter to save it. So this is getting ready for transformations. If I click on it now, it'll bring me back to Khan Academy. But now that I have that there, I want to go ahead and go back into master again. And I want to actually title this what it is. So I'm going to put intro transformations. And if I exit out of it, it'll automatically update. So now if a student decides that they need to review that, they just click on that and it'll bring them straight through there. So I personally like the 9 space choice boards because I usually have my students to do anywhere from 4 to 6 of them, depending on the level of difficulty. By doing this, it allows plenty of differentiation. So some examples that I've done in the past is, especially when I do trig, I do multiple levels of challenge. So I'll do like a level 1 trig, level 2 trig, level 3 trig. And you'll be surprised at how much your students are willing to challenge themselves when they're given that option. This also works really well for review topics. So let's say that I went through a chapter and only had 4 or 5 topics. I still need 4 more, 5 more to fill in the empty spots. I'll pull in old information from previous units that I've already covered, or I might pull in like ACT practice or prerequisite skills that I might need for the next unit. So the choice boards allows me to do a lot of different things to meet my needs of my learners. So now that we have a couple buttons set up, before you would send this to your students, the other thing you want to do is insert images for station stamps. There's a couple different ways you can do that. So one way is by using your shapes up here. Like we've used smiley faces in the past, or like the stars and stuff. So if you just hold that, if you just create a smiley face, I'm going to change the color. Let's go up here to the top and change the color. The students like to use that. I'll usually duplicate it a couple times and make a few different colors. And they really enjoy being able to drag them over and stuff. Another way of adding in like your own shapes is by going into Insert, Image, and we are actually going to search the web. And it's going to pull up this sidebar. So like earlier I did like a food theme. So I did food stamp. That's not food stamps. Let's see. Let's do soccer ball. Do soccer ball sticker. Sometimes you have to look a little bit. I'm looking for images that don't have a background. If you want to use backgrounds, you can, but it just won't blend in as well. So like right here, this is a football. If you just click and drag it over, notice that the background's not there. You can shrink it however you need to and just put it into the corner. And from there, after you finish, I usually make about 3 copies of each one for students to choose which ones they would like. And from there, whenever you assign it, the students can just click and drag it over. Okay, so after that, this choice board comes set up with a spot for each station. So they have stations 1, 2, all the way up to station 9. And because this is an odd number of stations, I do have the reflection on its own slide. And here I already have the text box set up. So maybe they're struggling with station 1 and they can explain why. And I always have my kids fill out all 3 of them. I won't grade it unless they do fill that out. But here I went ahead and just put click to edit. And when I do say click to edit, this is where you still have to go into that view and then the master slide. So to edit the reflection on the master slide, you're still just going to go in the view and you're going to click master. And you're going to scroll down until you find the reflection slide. So if you like these, you just take and just delete out the click to edit part. Like I did here. Before you close out of that, notice that it's been updated. Okay. So has there been any questions so far on this part? Okay. All right.
So far, so good. I did something wrong with the presentation link, but other than that, I think we're good.
Okay. I just wanted to pause for a second. Okay.
No, you're good. You're good.
All right. I did have 2 other things I wanted to talk about on here. So if you're using a Google Slides, so I'm actually going to take this and copy this over. If you're using a Google Slides, you're going to want to make sure that you create the presentation with copy. So I'm actually just going to do this one. This is a previous one that I've done. So at the top of the bar where it says edit, before you paste the URL, you're going to want to backspace all of this and you're going to want to put copy. And this allows for your students to receive a copy of your presentation that you have or your Google Slides that you have without editing the original one. And it's going to look very similar to how you gain access to this original one. So now that I have that, I'm just going to hit Control K to create a link. I'm going to paste it. So it's the same thing, but this time, whenever I click on the link, it's going to come up as a copy of the document. Now, you won't have access to your students' document, but I usually just have them either share it back with me or just post screenshots within the choice board. Okay, this works for, that little trick works really well for Google Slides. It also works really well for Google Docs. Let's see, I'm trying to think of any other ones. Yeah, those are the two that you have to do a little bit of editing on the URL. But if y'all ever have any questions on that, definitely just shoot me an email if you get stuck on that. Okay, now this is the last part on this one. When you go to get ready to assign this to Google Classroom, you definitely want to make sure each student has a copy. So you can either do that by editing the URL, or whenever you open up your Google Classroom, just make sure that instead of it showing as you only, you need to make sure that it shows as make a copy for each student. So, okay, that's pretty much the overview on how to set up your digital choice board. So again, if you ever have questions or you need help with anything like that, definitely shoot me an email. One last thing I wanted to talk about on this part. So in the instructions area, again, you can edit this by going into the master view. But so if you don't want your kids doing 6 activities, they can do 4, they can do 7. But it does need to be a choice board. That's the purpose of this. So they shouldn't really be doing all of them. For my kids, I usually use this the most whenever we're studying for like a unit test or something like that. So if I have kids who want to go above and beyond and they complete all of them, I usually assign them 2 or 3 bonus points for each one. But I don't grade anything and I don't give them bonus points unless they do the reflection, because I want them to actively think about what was successful for them or what wasn't. And then always make sure they post a screenshot. And then again, like I said earlier, I believe, if they can't remember how to screenshot, it's just alt print screen, and then to paste is just either you right click and click paste, or you can do Control V. So these are just some hotkeys. So, all right.
Okay, so I have a question personally.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so on this, you've got like this super cute background and everything, but on top of that, you've got a text box that's sort of like translucent, so that some of that background's coming through it, and I really kind of like that. Can you explain how you do that to get that sort of translucent type background?
Thanks for asking that. I actually forgot to talk about that. So I have it set up where the translucent box is always going to be there. In fact, in just a minute, I'll show you all. I have 3 other designs where it's like a 6, a 4, and something. I forgot the other one. But if you want to change the background, the easiest way to do that is by doing, see, we're going to change the background. So just click Change Background by right-clicking, and then you can choose Image. One thing that I have learned is there is stuff called like digital paper, but you have to do it like a Google image search. So let's say that we want a blue background. I really recommend looking for digital paper. It was created for this kind of stuff. So like it's usually patterns or something soft, just something that is a little bit different other than like a solid blue. So I'm just going to use this one. This one looks kind of fun. And you're going to click Insert. So when you do this, it's going to change the first one. But if you want to change all of them, you just click Add to Theme, and it will update the rest of it as well. Now, when you do this, sometimes you have to wait a second after the background updates on the first one. I've found out that if you click Add a Theme too fast, it won't update them. So if that happens, just click it again after like a minute, and it should update the rest of it. But I just have like this gray color just to make sure that you can kind of see the background through it. But if there's a different color that you want, you'd have to go into the master view. And then from there, let's see. From there, you can go and you can click on the buttons and you can change the colors from here. So like, let's say if you want it like the dark gray, you can do it that way, but you'd have to go in and edit the, let's see. You would have to go in and edit like the transparency. So you have to create a custom color. Okay. Oops. I think I used the same color twice. Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you. Digital paper, my mind just went like
right?
never thought to search, like actually put the terminology digital paper in my search. You know, it's like you just put background and then you scroll and scroll and scroll. That I can't even talk. Like that's just my mind's blown. That's awesome.
I the first time I discovered digital paper, it really changed a lot of things. Especially if you do stuff on like the PowerPoint side to where like you tile the background. So it's really cool. Like you can get really like nerdy about this kind of stuff very quickly.
And you were speaking my love language right now. I'm just saying cute presentations and like all this kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know if you can see behind me, but I've got like color coordinated calendars. I mean, like anyway.
Oh
so
yeah,
you are speaking my love language when you're talking cute stuff.
Yeah, and then like if you don't want a color, so maybe you want like flower digital paper, or if you want like a pattern, any of that stuff, you just look it up and it comes up way better. So like if you want like a yellow flower, you do yellow flower digital paper. Sometimes you get really good stuff, sometimes you don't. It just kind of depends. But like here's some really good ones. But it I don't know, you have a lot of really good options.
Awesome. Thank you.
So, all right. Any other questions on that part? So I'm just going to double check to make sure. So yeah, we went over editing directions and captions. We just talked about changing the background. Thanks for reminding me about that again. We've done the copy buttons to slide and then how to hyperlink. So again, I showed you right here. If you forget how to hyperlink, just click on the button, press Control K, and then you just paste your URL and you're done on that part. If there are any buttons that you might use in your classroom that we maybe don't have on like the district website, just send me an email and I don't mind adding them to, I have a page of like a running page of just different buttons that are coming up and stuff like that. Let's see. So I've made a reminder here. I recommend deleting the first 3 slides before sending it to your students, because if not, they might get a little overwhelmed to be like, what is going on? So just a couple of recommendations. Okay. So that was that part. That was the 9 station ones. If you're interested and you want to use this, and maybe you don't want 9, I did make a couple other ones. So like I have a 6 choice board template and also a 4 choice board template. So if you just click on that link, I'll go back to it in just a second. You'll be able to just click on the hyperlinks right here and it'll make a copy into your Google Drive as well. And then because I was worried about like ever running out of space or whatever, I do have a just a spreadsheet, not a spreadsheet, a Google Slides document that has all of the buttons by themselves. So if you accidentally edit your master one and you deleted it, you'll still have access to that. So, and again, if you ever want more, I can easily add more here and it'll just populate on your computer. So, all right. But yeah, if you want to have access to that as well, you just scan the QR code or you can type in the link here. And then they're also going to paste the presentation right into the chat room.
That is correct. We did get that in there and I got it fixed and everything's good. And also you can get it right here. Here's a copy of it. It is a bit.ly and they are case sensitive. So, you know, just make sure that you are capitalizing what needs to be capitalizing and keeping everything else lowercase. So
it was very interesting creating those bit.ly links to make sure that they haven't been used or anything like that.
Yeah. When you want to get like, specific with it, you have to really be careful because you're like, okay, well, no, that one's been used and that one's been used. So I kind of learned a trick. I usually put like LP with it.
Oh, that's smart.
So a lot of them haven't been taken with an LP and then that seems to be okay. So, yep.
I love this digital paper. Like I have been, since you said it, I've been searching for digital paper backgrounds on this Google slide. I'm so excited about that.
I'm telling you.
It changes everything. It changes everything.
I didn't know you could do that. I love that.
Yes. And I love your buttons. That's very, very clever. And I may have to just use some to update and make our website look a little snazzier.
Yeah, definitely. Feel free to use whatever you would like.
Thank you.
You rock.
Okay, guys. Well, make sure that you do fill out the survey in attendance. That link is right there. Bit.ly, Tech Week 21, capital T. Let her know how awesome she is, because this was great. This was wonderful. You make really pretty things and have great ideas. I love it. I think this would be beneficial in any classroom, really. And I do like, giving student choice is so big. And so, yes, thank you. Thank you for your time and for doing this.
Oh, absolutely. I was glad to do this.
All right. Well, go ahead, get yourself a beverage, take your little break. And our last presentation for the day is going to be about SAVIS. So if you've had any questions about how to make it work, you need to tune in.
Yes.
Okay?
This one's going to be super helpful.
All right. So we'll be back here at 2:00. Hope to see a few more faces. And thanks again for joining in.
Thanks, guys.